What's up, you guys? It's Jonno. Welcome to another episode of Pokemon Legends Arceus. Today, I want to share with you the fastest way to gain XP in the game. This is a very easy method, and I'm going to detail every single step you need to know. And throughout the whole course of this video, we will repeat the same process, so if it doesn't make sense the first time, just keep on watching. And please do watch until the end, because I'm going to explain a couple of tips and tricks to maximize this particular area, which is where we're going to be farming for XP today. Yes, you guessed it, Alpha Blissey is the largest source of XP in the game, especially when you're in the early game. You can get a ton of XP, but as your Pokemon level up, she will give you less and less XP, but it's still very useful. Even in the very end, when you're top end level, you'll still get 4,000 or 5,000 XP per battle, and you can reset these battles extremely fast by using a method which I'm just about to show you. And this whole process will take you maybe a minute or two, and then you can go back and reset and do it again, and you can see how that will clearly add up a ton of XP. So let's get right into the method. So the first thing you're going to want to do is what I just did, that is coming over here to Obsidian Fieldlands, defeating Alpha Blissey, and then you can, if you want to, defeat all of the Pokemon around Alpha Blissey. You don't have to do that, however, they could spawn back as a Chansey when you come back to this area. So if you defeat them now, you could get a Chansey, and I'm sure you all know Chansey and Blissey are both worth a ton of XP. So if you're looking for the extra bonus XP to maximize this area, then defeat the Machokes and the Machops and the Happies that spawn there, and then hope that they respawn as a Chansey. Now, like I said, you don't have to do that, but what you do have to do is this right here. You're going to come back to camp, you're going to rest until the evening, rest until the nightfall, and then rest until the morning. This tricks the game into thinking a whole day went by, and it forces the Alpha Blissey to respawn. So if you were thinking that you would go back to Jubilife Village and then come back and reset the Alpha Blissey, don't bother doing that. This is much faster. Now, I am going to make a couple of small cuts throughout the course of this video. I don't want you to have to watch me travel with Braviary because it does take a long time. So for the purposes of explanation, I am going to make just a couple of cuts, but not that many cuts, okay? So what we're going to do again is defeat Alpha Blissey, and then once I get done with Alpha Blissey, I get the massive XP gain as well as the large XP candy that she could drop. Now, this will also help you gain levels because you're going to be getting those large XP candies that Blissey could drop. She could also drop a Seed of Mastery and some other items. So if you don't get a large XP candy, don't worry, it's just a random drop. Just come back and go ahead and reset Blissey again by resting until the evening, and then resting until the nightfall, and then resting until the morning. You have to do those 3 rests, so it tricks the game into thinking a whole day went by. Now, have you guys ever done this where you're in an area and you're running around for hours just loving the game, exploring, and you let a whole day go by and realize, whoa, some of the alpha Pokemon that I defeated have respawned? Maybe that's never happened to you before, but it happened to me because I've got thousands of hours on this game, and I eventually did have that experience where I realized that alpha Pokemon can respawn. You don't have to go back and forth to Jubilife Village to get them to respawn. So I thought to myself, there must be some kind of a method to force them to respawn, and that's how I came up with this method, and it is a very good method. You could also use it for shiny hunting. However, for the purposes of XP gains, this method will speed up the process of respawning that Alpha Blissey, and you can come over here and farm that Alpha Blissey to your heart's content. Now, I do recommend to take out the Machokes, take out the Machops, take out the Happies, and hope that you get that Chansey spawn, or even an Alpha Chansey spawn. You would be really lucky if that happened. And if you're like me and you need a lot of XP, a lot of levels for a particular Pokemon, then you're going to be using this method for hours in some cases. I'm actually doing this method right now as I'm recording the video. I'm working on a level 95 Magikarp. I need that level 95 Magikarp for the Magikarp Path of Solitude, which is an extremely difficult challenge. It's request number 117, so of course I need to complete it for my request series that you guys know that I'm working on. I'm doing every single request in the game with a video tutorial, and needing a 95 Magikarp is just absolutely insane. It's so many levels. So I've been grinding this process for well over an hour now. It's a very good process. I've picked up a ton of XP candy along the way, and I'm also grinding some other Pokemon that I need to do for those challenges, which you can see in my party. I'm getting the XP on those as well, and you can see the difference in the XP. Some of them are getting 7,000, some are getting 6,000, 5,000. It really depends on what level that Pokemon is. The lower the level, the more XP they will get, up to around 10,000. And if you are higher level, then you'll get more like 4,000 or 5,000, which is still extremely good. If you were to battle Ingo at the training camp, you would get 12,000 XP roughly for your Pokemon. So 12,000, but the battle is super duper long. It didn't really work out that well for me. I thought it was taking too long. Then I started doing this, and the process isn't too bad, and I do find it to be faster XP gains than battling Ingo. Now, I would like to get some comments about that down in the chat. If you guys have battled Ingo, and if you've done this process, which one did you think was faster for XP gains? I thought that battling Ingo took way too long. Plus, you can't battle Ingo at the training grounds until you get to the post game, so obviously this is the best method for people who are in the early game, who are trying to get those high level XP gains. Now, I did mention earlier in the video that you can get Blissey in addition to Chansey in this area. Chansey is a little bit of a rare spawn. The Alpha Blissey will always be there every single time. As long as you do the resets correctly, it will respawn. However, Chansey is a little bit rare, and it's worth quite a bit of XP. I noticed that the Chanseys were worth about 1,400 XP. I noticed that the Machokes were worth about 400 or 500 XP. I also noticed that Happiny and Alpha Happiny were worth about 400 or 500 XP. But Chansey was the real payout. When I got this Chansey to spawn a couple of times, it was worth some pretty good XP gains, I must say. So it was worth it to take out these Machokes because they are worth a little bit of XP, and just get rid of them and hope that they spawn a Chansey in their place. So before I end the video, I did want to make sure that I showed the actual Chansey encounter so you can see if it's worth it for you to hunt for the Chansey. I don't recommend to try to battle the Chansey because they're very skittish and they will run. So make sure you just spam Pokeballs at them as much as you possibly can. If they bust out of the Pokeball, you do still have a pretty good chance to catch them. Even when they're running away from you and alerted to your presence, you can still hit them with a Pokeball. Unlike some Pokemon, like Machoke, if it's alerted to your presence, Pokeballs will simply bounce off, but not Chansey, so it's a really good spawn in that regard, and you can see it gave me a ton of XP. Anyway, you guys, that's going to be it for this episode. I hope I made it absolutely 100% clear how to do the reset method to get Alpha Blissey to respawn so you can farm it for the XP and the XP candies. Hopefully you found this video useful and informative. Please share it with a friend who wants to gain XP as well. Thanks everybody for watching. Thank you to all of my amazing subscribers, and peace!